Good day, eh? I have a very busy background where I am, and so I am pulling up a photograph of where I was this weekend. And I've made mention of of how the less connected we are, the more anxiety and depression we have. And you can look at that connection in a number of ways, and all of them are true for human bodies, right? If you're not connected to nature, you're just living inside with artificial air and artificial light, and you're not getting out into nature in some capacity. You're disconnected from nature, and you are a part of nature. If you are not connected to other human beings, if you are not connected to yourself, right? And so just throwing that out there, and especially as we move into those darker months, those colder months, those wetter months, for some of us, it's a lot less likely we'll get out into it. So just a reminder, there is no such thing as bad weather. There is only bad clothing. So the Scandinavians say, and I do live by that. I try to find gear and still get out in it. And so what? I'm a little wet and I'm a little cold. An hour later, half hour later, whatever, I'm back in my house. And I have yet to not feel better for getting out into nature. Okay, my lecture is done. Um, find an upright spine and close the eyes. And as you start to move into this awareness, go ahead and bring that awareness into your insides, right? So we're going to work from the inside out today. And as you start to scan through that body, we're also going to work with that idea of a smile, right? Again, speaking of anxiety and depression and us moving into that time of year when it's a little darker, wet, some of us have seasonal depression that can come in. So, one way we can also play and work with that in our meditation is imagining a smile. So, just maybe imagine that as you start to scan through those eyes and the forehead, yes, releasing tension, but maybe imagine the corners of your eyes turning up slightly into a smile. And as you move your awareness down into your inside of your mouth, sensing, right, getting a felt sense of the inside of the mouth, start to soften. Also, imagine the corners of your mouth just turning up slightly into a smile. And if it doesn't cause you a lot of tension, you could even turn those corners up just lightly. Then we're going to drop down to the collarbones. If you're unfamiliar, they're those bones that are right underneath the front of the neck, right? And there's that little divot in them, and then they run over to the shoulders. So bring your awareness to your collarbones, the shoulder area, sense from the inside of the body out. But then even imagine the collarbones smiling. And notice that as those collarbones smile, we usually might find that upright posture, the shoulders not rolling back behind us, but just widening out so that we're not collapsing in on the front body. Just that lift and that smile in the collarbones. And we'll bring our awareness down into our heart center, the center of the chest, I could say. And again, from the inside, sense maybe sensing the movement that the breath causes in the lungs and the ribs. Maybe you can sense the beating of the heart here. And if you're not feeling these things, don't be hard on yourself, right? Without judgment, just bringing awareness. I like to remind folks that sensory awareness training, it's not something that we're taught. And we're not often asked to feel our heartbeat even, right? Even though it does it how many times a day? We're not asked to feel our collarbones often. So be patient and be kind and imagine that the heart and the lungs are smiling. And we're going to drop the awareness down into the abdomen, the belly. And as you drop down into your belly, again, you've got a lot of different organs in there. Can you sense them? I'm not real sure. We can when we have, a little bit of movement or growling or things like that. But just bring your awareness there as if you could, right? You could get a felt sense of the abdominal area and all that goes on in there without our awareness. And even if you can't feel it, being aware that this is happening. And if you have any organs that are challenged, I guess I'll say, maybe imagine those particular organs smiling, maybe your kidneys, right? And if you don't have a kidney, you could even imagine that that space is still holding on to that smile, right? Filling that area that is no longer has a kidney with a smile, like, just an example. If you're missing a gallbladder, if your liver has a hard time, if your belly does, your colon, send light and love and imagine that area smiling and softening. And bringing the awareness down to the pelvis and the hips, and let that whole region kind of sense that area together. And the awareness in this part of the body, maybe imagining from the pubic bone over to the hips, there's a slight smile. And just take a moment and sense the hands, the palms, particularly where we really do have a very strong sense. Well, I was going to say of touch, but that's redundant, right? But because we use our hands all the time, those of us who have them, if you don't, something that you would use in place of that hand, right? We have this amazing connection with them because we do so much with them. And so the neurons are wired very strongly from the brain to the hands to sense that area. So maybe you feel energy in your palms right now. If you want to imagine your palms smiling, imagine your palms smiling. And then bring your awareness into those beautiful feet, our last stop on the sensing from the inside here, right? And not quite as used as the hands, but the soles of our feet still have a lot of contact with the floor. Other things, we're not as aware of it. However, maybe you can get a strong sense of energy from the soles of your feet. Maybe imagine the soles of the feet smiling, especially if you have plantar fasciitis or tight tops of ankles or wherever that area is. Maybe imagine that area smiling. And so that felt sense of your body, that imagined sense, we'll call it, of all these areas of the body smiling. And by the way, if there's an area in your body that challenges you that I didn't name off, maybe you take a moment in that area or the whole area, the medical condition or the injury or whatever it is for you, a missing body part, right? Maybe imagine that condition, that injury, that area, that missing limb, whatever it might be, maybe that's smiling too. course, the mind will wander, as it is wont to do. Bring your awareness back to the breath, or back to that felt sense of the body, that imagined sense of the smile. Hmm. And of course, you're doing this video. If you're doing this video, you could continue to sit here if this is feeling mighty fine and you're dropping in to that beautiful, peaceful place. If you're on a time schedule, bring your hands together in front of your heart. Take an inhale. And exhale as you bow that beautiful head in, just taking a moment, and whatever is going on in that body, right? All of the challenges and injuries and flaws and whatever it is that we have viewed this body, how we have viewed this body that we've had, however many years we've been in this body. Pausing and remembering two things today. One, that body tries its hardest, right, to stay healthy and well. So we're on the same team, remembering that we are on the same team and we need to learn the same language to try to keep ourselves as healthy as possible. Two, this beautiful body, it houses this beautiful spirit. Oh, thank goodness we have this body. Maybe turn up the corners of your mouth just a little bit in appreciation. Bow the head in and just a moment of gratitude if there's anything else you'd like to be grateful for, or if you'd like to send a little energy to someone who's struggling right now. Namaste, friends. May you be well, and I love you just as you are.